Hey there, this is Alan Brocken. Now that my kids are grown up, they call me the cool dad everybody's talking about. But if you're like me, I can attest that I was not always a cool dad. Some days I just didn't even have another word to say. So I'm here to give you a daily dad word to help you connect with your family. Today's daily dad word is notebook. So there's going to be a theme here about notebooks and how they might impact family time. But before we get started with that, one piece of advice I think is always relevant is make sure you put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. So what I want you to do is just take a second, breathe in deep through your mouth, out through your nose, in through your mouth, out through your nose, and start to take those things that are on your mind. Whether it's, tough customer at work today, problem you've been chewing on, whatever it is, I want you to just kind of hang that on a shelf for now, because we're going to go ahead and reorient your brain to spending time with the family. Let's talk about this notebook thing. Do you have a notebook or a journal, place you keep important thoughts in? You might want to get that out while you're listening to the Daily Dad Word. First thing you might want to write down is this week's memory verse, 2 Timothy 3:16. All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. What's helpful about that, taking time to write it down, is it'll help lock it in your brain. And it also, that kind of helps us know that if we've got, something that we need to find an answer to, we might be able to find it in the good book. But who else has a lot of notebooks? My bonus dad. He's always writing down things he wants to remember from the books he reads, and he even writes poems in these notebooks. He recently started to share some of these things with me. He sent me a quote from the American Civil War by Thomas Paine from 1776, speaking to the army after a defeat and their retreat. These are the times that try men's souls. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. I felt like that. I was wrecked in the depth of my soul over challenges of working all over the country, leaving my family at home. I'm sure you may be going through some tough stuff at work and in life right now. But now that you can stick it out and get to the other side, I know that from my experience that the reward on that other side will be a lot sweeter because of the struggle. So while you got your notebook out, take a moment and jot down what's trying your soul and sleep on that. Just write it down, let it sit, and get up in the morning and you're almost guaranteed to have a new perspective on it. That in the end that you can get through this. I think we can all agree that civil war is horrible, especially for kids. Today's good word comes from war-torn Sierra Leone. Kelvin Doe grew up in the war's aftermath, and the community struggled with power outages and a general lack of resources. But Kelvin had a vision of a brighter future for his community. At the age of 8, he began carefully upcycling trash to build rudimentary electronics. By 13, he had built a battery system to provide reliable power for his community. Eventually, he was able to build a radio transmitter and host his own show inspiring others. You can find more about Kelvin's story at the link in the comments. I think Kelvin's story is a great one to share with your kids about overcoming trying times and being creative with the resources at hand. Hey, are you still breathing? You know what else might help you get some oxygen? A good joke. Today's dad word is notebook, so let's see if I can get a laugh with that. I just read a personal notebook by a famous explorer on his trip to Mount Everest. It was a cliffhanger. I had plans to keep a journal in my notebook for a story about sinkholes, but they fell through. Come on, those were good ones, dads. I know that you could probably come up with something better, either a better joke, maybe a story, maybe you've got a great story about a sinkhole. Why don't you share these with your family? If you're looking for more ways to connect with your family, go check out dailydadword.com and click the Daily Dad Word link. You'll find other resources to help you and your family with your time together. And if you enjoyed this and it helped you kind of get your brain straight and ready for family time, why don't you go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Thanks.